Hi, it's me JD and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be showing you how to make shadow box cards with your Cricut machine. There will be 3 shadow box card techniques shown, each special in its own way. Let me tell you, people tend to keep shadow box cards a lot longer than they do your ordinary store-bought cards. By the way, quick thank you to Cricut for sponsoring this video. So to make these special paper crafts, sit back, subscribe, and let's get to cutting. First up, I'll be showing you how to make a shadow box card with a shadow box on the front of your greeting card. The first step is to make the frame for your shadow box. So my card will be about an A2 size card, and right now I'm making the frame for the shadow box for it. So I did that by selecting the shape tool, and now I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you see a little bit clearer. This shape here is 6 1/4 inches by 5.5 inches, and when it's finished it'll be made for an A2 size note card. I'm making score lines on the 1/2 inch and inch line from the left, and I'll repeat the same steps on the right. So an 1/2 inch and an inch from the right side, and the middle part there is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Now I'll cut out the frame in the middle by selecting the shape tool again and making another shape. You can make this a square, a rectangle, whatever size you want your frame to be. In this case, I wanted to keep the rectangle shape, so I'm just going to fiddle around with the dimensions until I'm satisfied with the sizes. And now I'm going to hide the score line, select everything, and I'm going to hit slice, and that'll cut that inner rectangle out. I'll bring my score lines back into view. I'll select everything and hit attach, and then send it to the machine. Once that's done cutting, I'll also select some 3D flowers to cut out. As you can see, Cricut Access has a lot to choose from. I'm gonna make some 3D flowers for my shadow box. So obviously this is not the kind of card that can fold. It's more of a hand-given card, like you put it in a gift bag or something, or just really hand deliver it to a person. I'll resize it and then duplicate it a bunch of times. I want to cut this out of some different color cardstock, so I'm just going to change the color of some of these so it'll put it on different mats. I already had some pre-cut and pre-scored note cards ready to go, so I just pulled one out of my stash, and my Cricut machine already cut out a bunch of different flowers, and now I'm going to start assembling. So I'll put some glue on that little tab that it cut out, and I'll use my scissors to hold one while I work on gluing another, and the glue will dry in time once it's time to move on to the next flower. You'll want a nice strong liquid adhesive for this, or some really strong double-sided tape to hold your 3D flowers together. Once they're dry, I'll just add some more glue to the back and start putting them on the front of my A2 size note card. I'm not too concerned if they get in the middle of the flower, because I'll be using some pearls to cover up the middle of each flower. The pearls just add a little more prettiness to my handmade card, and they help to hide any yucky adhesive that might ooze out towards the middle of that flower. Once everything is set and drying, I'm going to get out that shadow box frame piece I had cut out first. And I'm just hovering it over to make sure I can still see all the flowers, and now I will fold along the score lines that the Cricut machine made. So again, at the 1/2 inch mark and at the inch mark. Then using some strong double-sided tape, it's about 1/4 inch wide, so it's nice and thin, so it'll fit along the first 1/2 inch fold there. That first fold is going to go onto your greeting card. So once you've got that tape on there on that first fold, I'm going to peel off the backing and put one side down first. And you'll see I'll carefully align that first 1/2 inch score line with the edge of my greeting card. And then I'm going to pull the other side and attach that to the front of my note card as well. And you can see how this works here. I've got it nice and secure, and it's 3D, and it looks so cool as a card. I can still write on the inside, and it's really a showstopper of a handmade card. Another Cricut card technique is to put the shadow box on the inside of your handmade card so it's like a nice surprise for your recipient. Your Cricut machine can cut out all of the pieces for you. So for this first piece, I'm going to, again, this is going to be another A2 size card, and it will, when it folds, it can fit into an A2 size envelope. This first piece is actually 8 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. And then I'm going to make a score line at the 4.25 inch mark from the left. Then I'll select everything, group it, and then hide it for now. Now I'm going to make the second piece for this inside shadow box card. I'll select another square/rectangle shape, and then I'm going to unlock the lock button so I can adjust the dimensions. The second piece is 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. From the left side of this piece, I'm going to make score lines, and I will be making score lines at the 3.75 inch mark, the 4.25 inch mark, and the 8 inch mark. And remember, that's all from the left side. That's why I put this piece all the way at the 0 mark on my grid. Now I will make a rectangle or whatever shape you want for the frame of my inside shadow box. Again, I'm going to make a rectangle to keep it simple, and you know, I'll make a little bit smaller one so I have some room to write on the inside of the card. And then I will hide all of the score lines so I can select these two shapes, slice them together so I can remove that inner part of the rectangle. I'll bring my score lines back into view, and then I will select everything, the score lines and the shapes, and hit attach. I'm going to quickly zoom out so I can bring in that first piece we made. And now that both pieces are in view and everything's attached, I'm just making sure here, doing my final checks, and then I'll send this to the machine to make sure it's going to cut and score correctly. I've now got my two pieces cut out, and I'm just folding along the score lines to make sure I got some nice sharp creases. Using some tape runner, I'm going to put some tape on the short side of that first piece, and on this I'll attach the left side of the second piece, the one without a frame, to that tape. And as you can see, the shadow box card is coming together, and you see that edge right there, that's in the middle of the note card. I'll add some score tape to that little 1/2 inch rectangle, and then I will fold over the note card and it'll pick up that piece. And now you can see how this shadow box card works, is that when you fold it, it's A2 size, and then when you open it, you have a frame. So using my Cricut again, I'm going to, I cut out some flowers and other decorative items previously, and I'll start putting together the inside elements of the shadow box. I'm just using some liquid adhesive to glue things to the front side of the frame as well as the back side of the shadow box. And I'll add some extra items to the front of the card to tie everything together. And this Cricut inside shadow box card is done. Here is another shadow box technique by making your greeting card just be a shadow box in and of itself. I wanted to change things up a little and make this a square card. So I'm going to use the shape tool again to start building my shapes. This first card will be a 4 inch by 4 inch card when it is 3D, but when folded, it will still be able to fit in an A2 size envelope. So this first shape is going to be 5 inches wide by 4 inches tall, and now I'm going to make a little 1/4 inch like tab on the right side of this piece. So I'm just going to size that correctly, and it's going to be a little bit shorter than the short edge of my piece, just so it'll be easier to line the tabs up, and you'll see what I mean when I assemble it. But for now, I'm just making a little tab like that. And then I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to weld it together so it's all one piece. So the Cricut machine will cut this out as, you know, an entire piece, and I'll duplicate that because I'm going to need 2 pieces to assemble together, just like the previous card. Now I'll make a score line so my Cricut will know to score along that little tab, and I don't have to do it later. Now from the left side of both pieces, I'm going to make another score line at the 4-inch mark. Remember, my card is going to be 4 by 4 inches. And I'll do this for both of these pieces. Now, one of these pieces is going to be my front piece, or, my frame piece. So I decided it's going to be the piece on the left. And I'm going to make another square shape to cut out the inside of this piece. So I'll quickly hide those score lines again so I can weld these two shapes, slice these two pieces together so that inner square will be cut out. Now I'll bring back my score lines and then select everything and attach everything so the Cricut can cut and score, and all the hard work is done for me once I do, a little bit of slight design work. These few minutes of designing definitely saves me some money on some expensive dies. And making sure that everything is going to fit on mat and going to cut and score correctly before I hit continue. Alright, now both pieces are ready to be assembled. I'll just pop out that inner piece there, and then I'm going to fold along all those score lines I made. I'll do the same for this back piece and just fold along all those score lines. And then I'll quickly make sure everything is lined up correctly and I measured everything right. So now those tabs we made earlier, I'm going to get some really thin double-sided tape and put some tape along those tabs. Then I will peel off the backing and start attaching these two pieces together. So that I'm going to take the frame piece, and that tab is going to go on the back piece, and the tab will be lined up with the edge of that back piece. I'll press down carefully there. And then that other tab will line up with the frame of my front piece, and I will attach that carefully there. And now it's time to start decorating. Like before, I've already cut out some designs from Cricut Access, and I'll start putting them onto my shadow box. And this is a great card because, once you fold it, it's completely flat and can fit inside, an A2 standard envelope. But when the recipient pops it up, they get this, fun dimensional paper craft. And you can obviously, write on the back side of this card if you needed to. So if you're going to make this exact card, the dimensions are, when folded, it would be 5 inches by 4 inches, and when popped up, it's 4 by 4 inches. And you know how people like to display cards, either on the table or the mantle? Well, this would be a great card to display just because, look at it, it's so fun, it's dimensional. Obviously, again, you can write something on the back and personalize your card, and it was easy to assemble. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.